Derek Malvin was not someone you'd notice in a crowd. He wasn't tall, didn't have any tattoos, no flashy clothes, no strange haircuts. He wasn't tall, didn't have any tattoos, no flashy clothes, no strange haircut. Derek Malvin was not someone you'd notice in a crowd. He wasn't tall, didn't have any tattoos, no flashy clothes, no strange haircuts. Just a man. Plain shirt, black jacket, and a face that blended into the background like a shadow at dusk. That's how he liked it. That's how he always was. He returned to Pine Hill after nearly a decade of silence. It was the town he had once called home, back when he was just a boy with a broken family and bruises no one ever asked about. But this time, he came back as someone entirely different. Quiet, calculated, ready. It began at 9:13 in the morning. The Pine Hill Diner was buzzing with its usual crowd, an old couple by the window, the high school coach sipping coffee, a waitress who'd worked there for 15 years. Derek walked in without a word, sat in the far corner, ordered black coffee. When the waitress turned her back, he stood, pulled out a Glock 17, and without saying a single word, fired 5 shots. 3 people collapsed where they sat. No one screamed at first. It was too fast for fear. By the time the siren started wailing, Derek was gone. 14 minutes later, at a gas station 2 miles down the road, he struck again. This time with a shotgun he had pulled from the duffel bag slung over his shoulder. A father and son filling up their truck. A college student grabbing a snack. A clerk just starting her shift. For more lives erased in seconds. No robbery, no threats, no signs of mental breakdown. Just pure, cold execution. By now, panic had erupted across town. The Pine Hill police force was tiny, just 5 officers, most of them part-time. They weren't trained for this. Dispatch was flooded with calls. Rumors spread like wildfire. People locked their doors. The local school went into lockdown. And Derek Malvin kept moving. At 10:52 a.m., he was spotted walking past the town church. A woman tried to call out to him, thought he looked lost. He turned and stared at her, not with anger, but with something far worse, indifference. Then he walked on. By 11:30 a.m., he entered the old Pine Hill Library, abandoned since the early 2000s. 2 teenagers had been exploring inside, filming for a YouTube channel. He found them in the basement. One tried to run, the other didn't even get a chance. Both were shot before they could speak a word. That brought the death count to 9. The town was paralyzed. Helicopters from an ex-county circled overhead. The FBI had been called in. No one could figure out why he was doing it. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't posting. He wasn't making demands. Just moving through the town with purpose, methodical and silent, like he had rehearsed it for years. Then, suddenly nothing. For hours, there were no new sightings. No new victims. It was as if he'd vanished into thin air. The police surrounded the library. Inside, they found something disturbing. A red message scrawled across one of the basement walls. You didn't listen when I was quiet. Are you listening now? There was also a map. Pine Hill's layout. Marked in red circles were the diner, the gas station, the library, and a spot labeled home. They didn't know what it meant at first. The 10th killing happened just after 2:30 p.m. An elderly man, Harold Wilkins, was found dead in his home on the edge of town. Shot once in the chest. No signs of struggle. No forced entry. It took the FBI hours to connect him to Derek. But the truth unraveled later in court. Harold had been Derek's childhood neighbor. A man who used to watch him from the window. And, according to Derek's journals, a man who had hurt him when he was 9 years old. That night, just as darkness fell over Pine Hill, a call came in from a fisherman at Briar Creek. He said a man had walked onto the bridge, stopped at the center, and just stood there for nearly 30 minutes, still like a statue. When officers arrived, Derek was still there. Unarmed, calm. He raised his hands before they even spoke. He didn't resist, didn't run. Just said one thing: "I'm done." He never explained the murders. Not in court, not in jail. He refused to speak to journalists, ignored letters, avoided eye contact. When asked by a psychologist if he felt remorse, he simply blinked and whispered, "They were all part of it." To this day, no one really understands what he meant. Theories flew: abuse, revenge, mental illness, cults. But no solid answers ever came. He was sentenced to 10 consecutive life sentences with no chance of parole. Locked away in a high-security federal prison where he remains to this day. Pine Hill has never recovered. The diner reopened, but it's quieter now. The gas station changed ownership. The library was torn down. At the center of town stands a simple memorial, 10 small plaques, each with a name. Flowers are placed there every August. But no one forgets. They don't say his name out loud. They don't discuss the details. But when someone new moves into town, someone always tells them the same thing: lock your doors and never forget what happened on that quiet August day.